Welcome to day 10 of our 30-day challenge for the pelvic floor. I hope that you are enjoying this. Now we're working our way through co-contractions in the body, and today we're going to be working a little on co-contractions in the lower limb along with the pelvic floor. So we're focusing on the hamstrings, mostly the hamstrings, a little bit the calves as well, but mostly the hamstrings today. So you're going to take yourself around, and again today we are going to be working with the endurance holds that we had been practicing during last week. So you're going to be taking the endurance hold and then also taking a movement that's going to create contraction on the hamstrings. Now, this can be a little bit difficult if you have some weakness in the legs. So I do want you to pay particular care. Pay attention to what's happening in the body. If it feels a little bit too much, then you're not quite ready for this yet. And then you need to maybe work a little bit at the lower level, and you can also work a little bit on strength in the lower limb. There are some videos on the channel that work a little bit on strengthening the booty, and they will help a little bit for this. So we're going to take ourselves to lying down, and we want to bring the legs so that they're a little further away, and you want to just keep them in line with the hips. So we're not going all the way down, and we're not also taking them so that they're under the knees. We're kind of looking for halfway in between that, and you should feel when you come into the position that your hamstrings are going to activate. Now there is also a little bit of a core contraction in this, but I don't want you to deliberately do that. It'll just happen automatically. We're going to place the hands along the side of the body. You're going to take your little endurance contraction in your pelvic floor, and remember you're going to hold that throughout. And then we're going to just very gently press into the midfoot to lift your hips. And you're lifting, you see, only about 1 inch from the floor here. You can see I'm not very high up. So you're holding your contraction in your pelvic floor, and you should feel that your hamstrings are engaging. Now just hold and try to relax the upper body. Try to just keep that pelvic floor contraction held. Keep the hips just 1 inch from the floor, and relax. Now it probably looks a lot easier than it feels, but that's okay. That's the way it tends to go with these things. So relax your pelvic floor. You can put the legs down, give them a little shake, give everything a little wiggle, and we're going to go again. So again, we bring the feet up so it's a far away bridge. So you can see that my knees are still staying in line with the hips, so making sure that they're not falling in or out when coming up. So it's nice and balanced. And I'm going to lift my heels so that you can see just quickly for demonstration. When I lift up, I'm pressing through the midfoot to get that co-contraction. I'm not pressing into my heels here. So I want you to make sure you put the pressure on the front part of your foot. You don't have to lift your heels. Okay, hands out. Take the pelvic floor contraction. Keep the legs so that they're in line with the hips, and then gently press into the midfoot. You should feel that there is a good co-contraction going on. There's actually also a little bit of co-contraction between the lower part of your hamstrings and the upper part of your calf muscle here. So keep holding your pelvic floor. Don't lose that. That's the important thing here, is that we keep the grip on the pelvic floor. Remember, it's not the world's strongest contraction. It's just a gentle grip, and we're only about 1 inch off the floor here. So it might even look like my bum is still down, but you can see that I can put my hand under, so we know that it's not. Keeping the legs nice and steady. Keep holding that contraction, don't let go, and lower down. Okay, maybe we windscreen wiper the legs a little from side to side here. Maybe give them a little shake, give them a little wiggle. This is quite hard on the hamstrings, so you will feel this tomorrow, I would say. Take the feet back in position. Take the hands. We're going to do 1 more round of these. Now, of course, you can do more, but you don't have to. This can be quite intense. So we're just going to bring the feet again into position, and then you're going to press into that midfoot and lift the heel. I'm a little close there. I'm not feeling the right contraction. So just make sure that your feet aren't too close to your body. The closer your feet come to your body, the more gluteal focus this is. And we really want to focus on the hamstrings. And the further away you go, the more lower down in your hamstrings you're going to go. So you want to just feel it, that it's right in the belly of the muscle. So adjust your feet until that's where you feel it. Okay, so here we go again. Remembering you're pressing through the midfoot here. You're not pressing the heels, you're pressing through the midfoot to get that nice contraction. You're taking the pelvic floor before you start, and then you're just gently lifting 1 inch from the ground. And you're holding. and breathing. We're not doing any pulsing, we're not doing anything crazy, we're just going to hold. So keep holding that pelvic floor contraction. If you've lost it, just take it again. Try to be nice and balanced. You can feel the hamstrings, they're definitely talking to you. If they're not talking to you, then you must be really strong. So slowly we're going to release and lower down. That's it. Now just give the knees a little hug in towards the chest. And for our little relaxation today, we are going to take the block and we're going to do a little sacral release. So sometimes that little pose, even though we're not gluteal focused, we are hamstring focused. Sometimes you might feel that a little bit around the SI joints, just depending on your balance of tension and the strength around your hips. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the block and we're going to put a little blanket over it. And what we want to do is to rest the sacrum. Now we're not resting the low back. So you want the little triangular bone that's at the base of your spine to rest on this little block. So not the low back, not any of these vertebrae, but that little triangular bone that is right here. So from the top of your butt, where the cheeks end basically, to out to the sides where you have your two little dimples. Okay. So we're going to just take the sacrum, just rest the sacrum on the block. Now allow yourself to come down and just adjust as you need to. We're going to start first with the knees falling in and the hands are resting. The shoulders should be flat here. You should be nice and comfortable. And you're just going to take a little moment here. Now, as you do this, you should feel a little bit of a release around the sacrum. It's a really nice way to give a little bit of space in the lower back. Now, with the knees like this, you have a little bit of support. If you feel any compression or any pain or tension in the low back, you can just take the block away and rest your backside on the floor. So you don't need to actually use the block. But if you feel okay here, you don't feel any excess tension and you want to try to just go for a little bit of a deeper release, then we're going to just bring the legs so that they're all the way out. And then let the legs go. Now in this position, you should actually feel a deeper release. And I want you to bring your awareness to your pelvic floor and just notice if there's any gripping. Try to be relaxed and soft. Try to allow the weight of your hips to rest onto the block. We're not going to be here for long. Try to allow the weight of the backside of the body become very heavy. Notice how it feels in the hamstrings. So after all that work, you maybe feel that there's a little tension there, and just try to let the tension go as you relax into this position. So you have a little tiny bit of hip extension here. So that might be, you might feel a little bit of tension here along the front of the hips. Just try to allow that to release. So this also helps a little bit if you have some tightness in the psoas. We're not going to stay here for long. So gently bring some energy into the fingertips. We're going to take one leg at a time up. And again, we're going to meet where we were just a moment ago. Allow the knees to fall in together. Just take a little moment here and then heel toe the feet in towards each other. You're going to press into the feet. Now, be very, very careful when you do this. Nice and slow. Just lift the hips up a tiny bit. Move the blanket and the block away from underneath you and just let your backside rest down. And then take the knees in towards the chest. Just give a little hug and you can rock a little bit from side to side. And then swap the arm that's on top and the foot that's on top, just for balance. And then we're going to just move the props out of the way. And we're going to bring the right leg down, hug the left knee in. Just take a little moment. Then we're going to do the same on the opposite side. There we go. Now, rock yourself up. And that is it for today's little co-contraction video. I hoped that you enjoyed this and that you're managing to do all of these little co-contractions and that you're enjoying the little bit of release that you get from the relaxation exercises at the end. And I do hope to see you again tomorrow.